Yes, I don't know. We're going to find out here tonight. We are going to be doing live hot takes from ChatGPT on side hustle, money, business, life improvement, self care, personal progress, discipline, habits, focus, consistency. I'm going to either be defending or destroying the arguments, and I will flip and try to make the either argument or counter argument as your super chats come in. Chat reacts, super chats decide here all night. So we are going to be doing that. I will let you hear the hot takes from ChatGPT as they come through. All right, so chat reacts, super chat decides if you want to flip, if you want me to flip on whatever direction. We're going to start with this. We're going to have some hot takes ready to go. And here we go. This is hot take number 1 from ChatGPT. This is not pre-programmed at all, so here we go. Hot take.
Side hustles fail because people treat them like hobbies, not businesses. If you're not willing to set metrics, deadlines, and treat it with professional discipline, you're just playing entrepreneur.
All right, what do you guys think? Side hustles fail because people treat them like hobbies, not businesses. If you're not willing to set metrics, deadlines, and treat it with professional discipline, you are just playing entrepreneur. You're not a real entrepreneur. Let's see. If it failed because people treat them like hobbies, not businesses. I think side hustles fail in general because people don't really want to be entrepreneurs. This is my hot take on the hot take. I think side hustles fail on the regular because being an entrepreneur is significantly different than just running a side hustle. A lot of people think like, oh, I've got a side hustle, therefore I'm an entrepreneur. I've done all sorts of entrepreneurial jobs, starting on stores, starting businesses, creating products, all these different things. And I can tell you that the things that have succeeded is when I've treated them like a business, not like the times that I have not. All right, so that is hot take number 1. Side hustles fail. All right, here we go. We're going to get hot take number 2. Chat reacts, super chats decide. So looking forward to you chiming in. Let me know what you think. All right, hot take. Oh, let's see. Did it do it? It didn't take it. Hot take. Give me a hot take here, ChatGPT.
Money problems are almost always behavior problems. If you don't fix your spending habits with the same rigor you apply to earning, no income level will save you.
All right, what do you guys think? Do you agree with that? Disagree with that? Hot take. Money problems are almost always behavior problems. If you don't fix your spending habits with the same rigor you apply to earning, no income level will save you. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Again here, chat, you react, super chats, you direct. We can spend more time on it. And if you want me to flip opinions, just super chat and I will give the opposite viewpoint. But I am going to say for argument here that money problems are not almost always behavior problems. I think for a lot of people, money problems are income problems. Yes, there are behavioral problems that are tied to some people. That yes, there are some people. How's it going, chat? You guys are doing awesome. We're doing live reacts. So ChatGPT says money problems are almost always behavior problems. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say money problems for a lot of people are just income problems. You simply don't have enough income to sustain whatever lifestyle that you are living or wanting to live. What do you guys agree? Do you agree? Disagree with that? Let me know what you think on those. How's it going, Love God? Doing well. All right. Chat reacts, super chat decides. Money problems are almost always behavior problems. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? That is ChatGPT's hot take. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say money problems are almost always income related. If you made all the money in the world, you would never have any money problems. So it's going to be income related. All right, here we go. If you want me to stay on topic, let me know. Super chats. You guys direct everything. Chat, you react. Here's the next hot take from ChatGPT. Here we go. Hot take. Give me a hot take.
Self-care is often a procrastination disguise. True self-care isn't bubble baths. It's doing the hard, disciplined things today so you aren't drowning in chaos tomorrow.
All right, let me know if you guys can hear this or not, but I'll repeat it for you guys. ChatGPT says self-care is often procrastination disguise. True self-care isn't bubble baths. It's doing the hard discipline things today so you aren't drowning in chaos tomorrow. I am actually going to agree. I am going to agree with ChatGPT on this, that self-care is often a procrastination technique. I can tell you just from my personal experience, a lot of times when I'm talking about self-care, it's avoiding the thing that I really should be doing. I know some of you guys maybe follow entrepreneurs who have like great followings like Gary Vee, and he will often talk talk about how a lot of times we spend all our time doing things that don't actually push the needle forward. And I think a lot of times, not to say that we shouldn't care about ourselves, but a lot of times the best thing that we can do to care about ourselves is to do the things that we are trying to do to push the needle forward. So if you want me to flip my view on that, I'll give you the opposite. Super chat can tell me to defend or destroy the take of ChatGPT here. All right. So, but give me your reactions. Do you agree, disagree with that? Self-care is often procrastination disguised. I'm going to agree with ChatGPT on that one here tonight, that self-care is procrastination disguised. But do you agree? Are you procrastinating on something? Or do you think self-care is genuinely good? Or is there maybe a limit to what that is? All right, continuing on. Here's the next hot take from ChatGPT. Hot take.
If your business strategy is chasing trends, you've already lost. Discipline comes from focusing on a core offering and iterating relentlessly, not pivoting every time you see a shiny opportunity.
All right, here we go. That was ChatGPT. It says, if your business strategy is chasing trends, you've already lost. Discipline comes from focusing on a core offering and iterating relentlessly, not pivoting every time you see a shiny opportunity. All right, in principle, I like part of where ChatGPT is going here, but I'm going to say I disagree. I know Alex Hormozy talks about the woman in the red dress, talks about this idea that we kind of go after every shiny object. So that part of the take I agree with. However, I do think when you are just starting out and you're trying to figure out your business, you're trying to figure out your business model, your entrepreneurial plan, you need to kind of you got to figure out some different paths that you're going to take here first, because you're probably not going to hit it out of the park the first time. In fact, most people who are entrepreneurs who have hit it big did not hit it big with their first business. A lot of times you'll hear those success stories, but I'm just going to tell you, a lot of times that is not the first time. You know, most people who hit it big, they hit it big because they tried a bunch of different things and they finally found the niche that worked for them. I can tell you, just even my journey on YouTube, I've tried a whole bunch of different things on YouTube. So you can agree, disagree with me. You can disagree or agree with ChatGPT. Again, if you want me to flip my opinion, I will defend the other one just so you can kind of see what that maybe looks like on that. Otherwise, we are going to keep moving forward. If you want to stay a little bit longer, super chats, you are in control of deciding what we are doing here tonight. Here we go. We're doing all sorts of hot takes on life, business, personal growth, self-care, personal development, all sorts of things like that. All right, here we go. Hot take.
Consistency is more important than intensity. A mediocre effort done every day outperforms a heroic effort done occasionally. Discipline is about showing up when it's boring, not just when you're inspired.
All right, what do you guys think on that? Oh, I lost it. I lost the chat. Anyway, consistency is more important than intensity. In other words, showing up with a mediocre effort every day is better than showing up with high intensity every once in a while. What do you guys think on that? I like in principle where ChatGPT is going with this, but I think more important than both of those things. Yes, there are days you're going to have to grind it out and not going to have consistency, but I think you need to have consistency and intensity. I don't think you can have just one or the other. If you just show up with a mediocre effort every day, you're going to produce a mediocre product every single day. But if you show up with high intensity only once in a while, you're also not going to be able to produce what you need. I think you need both. So I'm going to disagree with ChatGPT that consistency is more important than intensity. I'm going to say that you need to have both consistency and intensity, because if you just try to kind of go halfway every single day showing up, yeah, like I said, there's going to be certain days where maybe you're going to have to show up even though you don't want to. But on the general, if you're just showing up because you have to every single day, you are not going to build the business, you're not going to build the life, the strategy that you want. So all right, you know what, Shoeman, let me just ask you, I will ask ChatGPT, one person in chat is starting a shoe business and asking for advice. All right, let's see. We'll see what ChatGPT says for you, and I'll throw in some of my thoughts here too as well. Shoeman, let's see what we can do. All right, let's see. Come on here. ChatGPT is thinking, gonna get some advice. Oh, okay. Hold on. I gotta go. I have a trigger set in here, and she's not letting me do that. All right, let's go. We'll open a separate thing. So here's what I would say. Start small, shoe man. I don't know what platform you're wanting to sell on. If you're wanting to sell on eBay or Amazon, obviously learn those things. But in general, start small. Start with what you know and kind of work out from there. And don't get in over your head. One of the most dangerous things that you can do is start and have way too much money invested in your business. So right now I am restarting my clothing business. All those boxes there are eBay clothing items that I have for sale. And so, but I started with just a small amount of money and I just keep reinvesting over and over and over again. Now, to go with that, ChatGPT has a few things for you here. This is ChatGPT's advice, not mine. I am not a shoe expert. I do sell pairs of shoes every once in a while, but I am not a shoe expert. So ChatGPT says, one, pick one lane. Decide new versus used, men versus women, athletic versus casual. Shoes get complicated fast. Sizes, conditions, return. Fewer variables wins early. And again, not saying that you couldn't expand from that, but suggesting to pick one lane to start with. Start with proven demand. And I would definitely agree with this. Start with brands that have demand. Don't try to force demand. It's a whole lot easier to sell to a market where there is demand. So Nike, Jordan, Adidas, New Balance, Hoka, they sell consistently. Avoid obscure brands until you have cash flow, data, a little bit of experience. Check sold comps, not just listed prices. Number three, condition matters more than almost anything. Clean, deodorized, clear shoe photos. Clear pictures of the sole, disclose fault flaws aggressively, and I will 100% agree with that. You want to undersell and overdeliver. So I'm always pointing out things that are like minor flaws, just so people know, and that way they're not going to be disappointed. And it's way better that you're pointing out flaws. Again, learn all your basic cleaning, restoration, and that sort of thing. Have a plan. Decide how much cleaning time you're going to put into any given pair of shoes. Number four, buy cheap enough to survive mistakes. Buy at 20 to 30% of your realistic resale price to give you the margins that you need. If you can't double your money, then pass. Number five, expect returns, build for them. Shoes have higher return rates than clothing. Factor that into pricing. And so I've been fortunate not to deal with any returns in the shoes that I've sold. But yes, return rates do tend to be higher for shoes. Don't overbrand too early. So, in other words, don't be looking for things that are way outside, custom boxes and all these things and trying to develop your own brand. In the beginning, the brand is the shoes that you sell, not you. So don't overbrand yourself too early. Sell the product, learn, reinvest. Branding comes after you have repeatable profit. Number seven, track everything. And that's one thing that I wish I had done right from the start. And I'm trying to get caught up on that. But track your cost, your sell price, your fees, your time to sell. And then aggressively move the losers. Get those going. Same photos, same cleaning process, same listing template, scale with systems, not with emotion. So that's what ChatGPT says for you. All right, we're going back to hot takes here. Hot take.
Progress doesn't care how inspired you feel. If you only rely on motivation, you'll lose every time. Discipline, consistently showing up, is the only non-negotiable currency of real progress.
All right. ChatGPT says progress doesn't care about how inspired you feel. If you only rely on motivation, you'll lose every time. Discipline, consistently showing up, is the only non-negotiable currency of real progress. So this is similar, by the way, Shoeman. You are welcome. I hope that helps you and gets you going with things. I am going to agree with this hot take from ChatGPT. This is a little bit more in line with what I was thinking of the last one, is not just showing up with a mediocre effort every day, but progress doesn't care how inspired you feel. You do need to show up. You do need to put in the work even on the days that you don't want to. If you only rely on motivation, you'll lose every time. I 100% agree with this. Okay, 100% agree. You've got to show up consistently. And in fact, I think the bar has never been lower to beat out a lot of people, because a lot of people don't want to show up consistently. And you just have to maybe sometimes figure out what you're going to show up consistently for. If you're trying to show up consistently for too many things, then maybe that doesn't exactly work for you, but you do need to show up consistently on a regular basis. All right, here we go. Hot take from ChatGPT. Hot take.
Your habits around money define your financial future more than any big break. If you can't master small, boring financial disciplines, you'll never handle larger sums when they come. Start with consistency, not luck.
All right, your habits around money define your financial future more than any big break. If you can't master small, boring financial disciplines, you'll never handle larger sums when they come. Start with consistency, not luck. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you want me to change or flip my opinion and give you the opposite viewpoint, let me know. Just super chat for that, and we will do that. But I am going to agree with this, and I will present to you the evidence of how many lottery winners have gone broke, right? So many lottery winners have gone broke. So many athletes with multi-million dollar contracts have gone broke. Hollywood actors, actresses who have gone broke. You can absolutely catch the big break financially and waste all that money very quickly. So your habits around money define your future more than any big break, 100%. So what do you think, chat? Do you agree that if you were to catch a big break, do you think you're prepared to handle all of that? Or do you think, like, just if someone gave $1 million or $10 million in your bank account, do you think you'd actually be set for life? Or do you think you would squander it? Do you agree with ChatGPT? Or do you not? All right, so let me know what you guys think. Chat reacts, super chats guide everything here. Here we go. We're going to do the next hot take from ChatGPT. Hot take.
Focusing on life improvement without measurable habits is just wishful thinking. Define clear, trackable behaviors and execute them daily. Improvement is a byproduct of disciplined action, not just reflection.
All right, focusing on life improvement without measurable habits is just wishful thinking. Define clear, trackable behaviors and execute them daily. Improvement is a byproduct of disciplined action, not just reflection. I am going to disagree. I'm going to destroy ChatGPT on this one here. If you wait till you have full perfect systems of tracking every little metric that you want to improve in your life, you're going to always find the reason not to get started in the first place. Focusing on life improvement without measurable habits is not just wishful thinking. In fact, a lot of the things that I have changed in my life over the years were not done with measurable things, not done with measurable metrics. How's it going, Savage? Yes, it's great. If you can define clear, trackable behaviors and execute them daily, that is great. However, the idea that you need to have a whole metric system set up before you can start making improvements for yourself, absolute bunk. I disagree with that. I'm going to destroy ChatGPT on this 100%. Improvement is a byproduct of disciplined action. I agree with that, but not every disciplined action must be tracked by metrics. Now, if you want to become the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the best of the best in whatever your field is, yes, you are going to need to pay attention to all of the absolute best metrics that you possibly can. But if you're just trying to get out of a rut in life, and let's say you're trying to break a bad habit, let's say you're trying to break a drug habit or break an alcohol habit or something like that, the idea that you say, well, I'm not going to stop drinking until I have clear trackable metrics that track how much I stop drinking. No, you don't need to wait to have clear trackable metrics to make things go. Seahawks win the Super Bowl, Savage. All right, here we go. Next hot take from ChatGPT. Hot take.
Consistency beats intensity every time. A single burst of focus won't change your life, but showing up with disciplined action day after day will. Focus on sustainable routines, not occasional sprints.
All right, consistency wins every time. Now, again, this is kind of a similar theme that we were talking about earlier. And again, I will agree with this one. Consistency, taking those actions day after day after day. And one of the things you're going to have to figure out is what are the actions that you want to invest in day after day after day? Because I can't really answer that for you. But I can tell you one thing, if you're trying to do too many things day after day after day, it's going to be really hard to have sustainable, consistent action and growth in your life, because the simple thing is consistency is really kind of this elimination of extra things that are off to the side and things that maybe sound fun, but they're not really the most important thing for you. So you have to decide if you want to grow a massive YouTube channel, but you're only willing to show up on YouTube once a month or once every 6 months, it's not going to happen. What's going to happen is the consistent action that you're consistently investing in it and doing that, or whatever thing that you want to see, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your life, consistent action day after day, consistently showing up when it's hard, showing up when it's painful, doing those things and leaving your past behind you and moving forward. Absolutely. All right, here we go. Hot take.
Consistency beats intensity every time.
We already did that. Come on. Let's get a new one. Hot take.
In business, being busy is a false metric. If you can't tie every hour to a direct outcome, you're just performing work, not building a business. Measure results, not activity.
All right, in business, being busy is a false metric. If you can't tie every hour to a direct outcome, you're just performing work, not building the business. Measure results, not activity. All right, now I think this is getting a lot closer, but I am still going to disagree here, not because the premise is wrong, but I think the time frame is too big. If you can't tie every hour to a direct outcome, no. You need to be thinking about every possible thing that you are doing within your day and within your business. So you need to be thinking like, okay, it's not that full hour because, but what about 15 minutes here, 5 minutes there, this distraction here, that distraction there. But I do agree in general that there are a lot of people who are performing work, and sometimes I fall into this trap too. I'm so busy doing stuff. It's stuff that I know how to do, so I do it, and I do it well, and I'm busy, but it's not really pushing the business forward. It's not pushing me forward. Sometimes it's true with YouTube. It's easy to just be like, hey, I'm going to just go and I'm going to edit some old titles of some old YouTube videos or different things like that, but I'm not really trying to push myself forward to create something bigger, better, different, improve upon whatever has been working or to really figure out the next step of things that I need to take. So, being busy is a false metric. I will agree there, but tying every hour to a direct outcome, I would say maybe instead of every hour, tying every action to a direct, measurable outcome is absolutely what it is. And I bet you, even a lot of small businesses, a lot of people within them, they're not doing the work that they need to do to grow them to be a smaller business. Those are things that I'm trying to work out of my own life. The busyness of just doing things that make me feel good or make me feel like I'm doing something for the business, but I am not actually accomplishing anything for that. We are doing hot takes from ChatGPT on life and business and personal development. Chat, you react to each of these claims that ChatGPT is making. I'm going to defend them or I'm going to destroy them. But if you don't like my opinion, you want me to flip my opinion, use Super Chat and I will flip my opinion. Vitalik, how's it going? Thank you for the like and the share of the stream as well, Savage. Appreciate it. All right, so free chat reacts, paid chat controls where we're going. Otherwise, we are going to keep going here. Let's see, we're going to get ourselves hot take. Give us something new.
Most people confuse consistency with monotony. True consistency adapts and refines. If you're repeating the same actions without learning, you're not consistent, you're stagnant.
Most people confuse consistency with monotony. True consistency adapts and refines. If you're repeating the same actions without learning, you're not consistent, you're stagnant. I am going to destroy ChatGPT on this one. I disagree with this. Parts of it, again, I agree with, but not the whole of where it is going. Vitalik, yeah, life's been kind of crazy, but we're back here tonight. So, all right, here we go. So most people confuse consistency with monotony. I do agree with that. A lot of people think that it's boring, but I'm going to tell you the riches are in the boring, in having things that you can set and do consistently, day in, day out. That's what it is. True consistency adapts and refines. Yes, to a certain extent, but you know what true consistency does? It just keeps producing. It just does the same thing over and over and over. And so, yes, it adapts and refines in the sense of getting faster, being more efficient with everything that you're doing. But I'm going to say true consistency is boring. That's the reason why people don't stick with it, is because they're always looking for the next thrill instead of taking care of what is actually paying the bills right in front of them. Again, this is an area that I have struggled with in my past, and I'm working to keep pushing forward with that. The boring is where the money is. The money is where the boring is, because the boring, when you just show up every day, you do the same thing every day over and over and over again, that is where things are. And yes, you are going to want to adapt and refine and become more efficient with that. But in the broader sense, in the broader scheme of things, you need to just show up every day and do the boring thing over and over and over again. And as I'm getting older, boring sounds more and more exciting with doing that. So again, general principles, a lot of these things I'm going to kind of agree with the general principles, but I'm going to destroy ChatGPT on the actual specific takes. All right, continuing on, chat reacts, super chats decide. If you want me to flip my opinion, though, I'll defend the other side as best as I possibly can. All right, here we go. Free chat reacts, paid chat controls. This is our next one. Hot take. You are you there? ChatGPT, hot take. Give me a hot take.
Your progress is limited by your comfort zone. If you only seek improvement in areas that feel safe, you'll never break into meaningful growth. Discomfort is not an obstacle, it's the price of leveling up.
Your personal progress is limited by your comfort zone. If you only seek improvement in areas that feel safe, you'll never break into meaningful growth. Discomfort is not an obstacle, it is the price of leveling up. All right, I am going to agree. I will defend ChatGPT on this one. Yes, discomfort is not a bug. It is the feature of leveling up. It is what is to be expected with leveling up, that you are going to have discomfort, that you are going to have failure. There's this very weird, just kind of culture around failure is bad. And I'm going to tell you, if you believe failure is bad, then you are going to definitely not be growing to the level that you could be growing to. Your personal progress is limited by your comfort zone. Yes, absolutely. If you're not willing to push yourself, if you're not willing to move, if you're not willing to take on things that are beyond what you are comfortable with, yes, you are going to be limited by that. The world is won by people who push beyond their comfort zone. Now, not necessarily saying like push to your breaking point per se, but you need to push to the point where it's like, hey, no matter what happens, no matter what is going on, like, yeah, you've got to get out of that comfort zone. You've got to take on things. You got to be a risk taker because, there is money around the corner. There's freedom around the corner, but only if you are willing to take the risk, only if you're willing to risk about showing up, doing the work, starting that YouTube channel, starting that business, making that sales call, whatever it is, the hard work, the stuff that you're uncomfortable doing, it's going to be the stopping point for you time and time again. If you don't want to get out of your comfort zone, it's definitely going to hurt you here. All right, chat reacts, super chats decide. Let me know if you want me to flip flop on my opinion. I'll try to defend the other side as best as I possibly can. Free chat reacts, paid chat is in control. We're going to get our next hot take.
Discipline doesn't care how you feel. You act whether you're inspired or not. If your habits rely on mood, you'll never achieve lasting results. Discipline is action regardless of emotion.
Discipline doesn't care how you feel. You act whether you're inspired or not. If your habits rely on mood, you'll never achieve lasting results. Discipline is action regardless of emotion. I am going to defend ChatGPT on this one. Absolutely, discipline does not care how you feel. You act whether you're inspired or not. In fact, Alex Hermosi makes the argument that the absolute best time to start a new habit is when you're broken, because if you can start a habit in the busy season of life, then of course you're going to be able to sustain it when life gets a little bit easier, when life slows down. But if not now, then when, right? If not now, then when? And that would be the question that I would challenge you with, that I challenge myself with, is if not today, then when? When am I going to do the thing? When am I going to make that next move? When am I going to try the thing? Because maybe the thing you're going to try is going to fail, but why not find out today that it's going to fail instead of finding out next week that it's going to fail? This idea of procrastinating for the purpose of like delaying failure. No, you want to fail as fast as possible. You want to fail fast. You want to fail up. You want to push yourself to fail quickly, learn quickly so you can move forward quickly. And so, yes, your habits should not be relying on your mood. But here's the thing, even if you're in a horrible situation, it is the absolute best time to take on a new habit, the thing that you want to do. Envision your life the way you want it to go. Take on the new habit now, because if you can figure out how to do it in the busy season, when life slows up, it's going to be a little bit easier. So You just let me know what you guys think with all of that. Let's see, maybe. All right, here we go. And we're going to do our next hot take. Hot take.
In business, in business, your ability to focus is worth more than any resource. If you can't ruthlessly eliminate distractions and hone in on the most critical tasks, you'll drown in busy work. Focus is the ultimate competitive advantage.
In business, your ability to focus is the ultimate competitive advantage. Do I defend ChatGPT or do I destroy? Um, ChatGPT went on to say that if you can't focus on just a few things, so for that line alone, I am going to destroy ChatGPT. You do not need to focus on just a few things. You need to focus on one thing. You need to focus on the singular choke point in your business. If you can't figure out what is the choke point, then focusing on many things is not going to get you through it. Again, this is another Alex Hormozy principle that I would encourage to you. Is you figure out, okay, where is the choke point? Put all of your resources in fixing just that, because if you fix 10 other smaller things that aren't the main choke point, when you fix the choke point itself eventually down the road, you might find out that none of those other changes for those 10 other things even needed to be made. So what do you need to do? You need to fix that choke point. Whatever the choke point is, you need to fix it. Put all of your effort, put all of your resources into the number one thing. Now, maybe that number one thing is something that can be taken care of in 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe that's your number one choke point. So for right now, like with my eBay business, I have kind of a messy office. So my number one choke point for this right now would be cleaning off my table. Okay, that's the area because I can't take pictures and doing those things. That choke point is only a 10-minute job. Okay, but that's choke point number one. If I go around and I fix this and I fix the other thing and I fix the next thing, okay, all those things might be, I'm moving piles out of the way. Well, what if I could just photograph the pile of clothing? And how could I do that? Well, if my choke point, my photography table was cleared off, I'd be able to do that. And so this idea that commitment and focus, it's really the elimination of any possible distraction, and anything other than the number one distraction is a distraction you should eliminate. So I'm going to destroy ChatGPT here because it is not about eliminating most things. It's about eliminating everything but the most important thing. All right. Here we go. All right. We're going to do another hot take. Maybe we'll do one or two more here. Super chats. You control the direction of everything, but ChatGPT, give me a hot take.
Most people waste time planning as a way to avoid acting. A mediocre plan executed with discipline beats a perfect plan that never leaves the paper. Action trumps endless strategizing.
Most people waste time planning as a way to avoid acting. A mediocre plan executed with discipline beats a perfect plan that never leaves paper. Action trumps endless strategizing. I am going to defend ChatGPT here. Yes, Savage. Yeah, not for writing stuff, but going on from there. But yeah, I'm going to defend ChatGPT here. A lot of people are planning, strategizing, thinking. I'm going to tell you, having come out of the world of churches, this is what churches love to do. They'll spend a year debating on whether or not they should do something, and meanwhile, the opportunity's already passed itself by. But people and businesses, they love to plan as a way to avoid acting. And 100% a mediocre plan. Now, I talked about before, you don't want to show up and just give mediocre effort. No, it can be a mediocre plan, but you give max effort to it. But a mediocre plan executed with discipline beats a perfect plan that never leaves paper. Of course, there are just how many countless people's dreams were written in journals but never acted out upon. You need to do whatever it is that you want to see your life become. You need to act on it. It needs to become the number one thing. It needs to be the thing that you are going to do no matter what. All right, we are going to do two more hot takes from ChatGPT. But you can super chat. Every super chat will give us one more hot take beyond those two if you want to hang out for a little bit longer. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to do two more hot takes, but then every super chat will do one more hot take no matter what the super chat would be. All right, here we go. Two more hot takes. Hot take.
Focusing on motivation is a trap. It's unreliable, fleeting, and not a strategy. Build systems that function whether you feel like it or not. because results follow consistency, not inspiration.
Focusing on motivation is a trap. It's unreliable, fleeting, and not a strategy. Build systems that function whether you like it or not because results follow consistency, not inspiration. All right, what am I going to do here? I am going to defend ChatGPT here, but with one little bit of a caveat. There are times that motivation will be the thing that can push you through, especially when things are going. But if you want to develop something consistently, yes, you are ultimately going to have to figure out how to execute your plans even when the motivation is not there. So focusing on motivation, I don't feel motivated to do it. I don't feel motivated to post on YouTube. I don't feel motivated to work on this project or work on my business or different things. Look, there are plenty of times and opportunities where motivation is not going to be there and you've got to figure out exactly how you're going to execute anyway. So I agree with this. Motivation is unreliable, it's fleeting, it's not a strategy. Build systems that function whether you like it or not. And I do agree with that. But again, I would just caution you, don't feel like you have to have every system built out before you start acting, right? Because a mediocre plan is better than a perfect plan that doesn't leave paper. We just talked about that. But yeah, figure out systems. And once you figure out, okay, this is the system that I'm going to do, this is the way that I'm going to live, this is how we're going to execute this business plan or this personal plan or this life development plan or this new habit that we're going to introduce, then yeah, introduce the systems as you figure it out. But don't feel like you have to have the system figured out before then. All right, we're going to do one more hot take unless a super chat comes in. Super chats will buy hot takes. We'll do a couple more if any super chats come in. But this otherwise is going to be our last one of the night. So if you want me to hang around, you can throw your super chat in there now. If not, hopefully this will just be a little bit of an inspiration for you. Let's see what is going to be hot take.
Self-care without accountability is just self-indulgence. Real self-care is doing what you need, not what you want. If it's not building a stronger you, it's just comfort disguised as care.
Self-care without accountability is just self-indulgence. Real self-care is doing what you need, not what you want. If it's not building a stronger you, it's just comfort disguised as care. I am going to destroy ChatGPT on this one. I do think it is great to have accountability in your life, especially when you're trying to make changes, have people who are in your corner, who are on your side. But again, I think this leads to a false dichotomy that you have to have accountability set up in order to start making changes. No, you don't have to have accountability to start making changes. You start making changes, you decide to make changes, and then you can invite accountability in as the opportunity to do. Real self-care is doing what you need, not what you want. And for the most part, I agree with that. But sometimes self-care is doing the thing that you want to do, that you kind of otherwise have been keeping yourself back from because you're trying to do all the right things. If it's not building a stronger you, it's just comfort disguised as care. Wow, I can barely read. That's why, unless we get a super chat, this is going to be our last hot take here of the night. But I am going to say, no, there are reasons and times to do self-care that are not going to build a stronger you. Sometimes you need to do self-care to stop yourself from spiraling. It's not so much about building a stronger you, it's about making sure the future you is not any weaker. Sometimes it's just about sustainability and doing those things. Now, I do think with all these things, you can go too far. You can spend a little too much time, on self-care that it becomes self-indulgent. And so I do agree that that is a possibility, but I don't think you need to have everything figured out. I think that's my general theme with a lot of this stuff is that I do generally agree with the principles that ChatGPT is bringing to you guys here tonight. But a lot of times it's like, unless it's done in this exact way, it's not going to work. No, no, no. The whole point with life is that there are a lot of things that will work differently for a lot of different people. And I would encourage you to not get stuck in this mindset of, oh, I have to get this set up before I can do this. I have to get this set up before I can do that. No, don't wait. Just start doing. And then as you do, then develop the systems that work. How can you set up a system when you don't even know what you're doing? It's way better to start doing and then learn the system. As I've been rebuilding my eBay store here, I didn't really have a system for photography when I started, and I still don't have a great system. But if I sat down and watched 100 videos about how to do photography, guess what? I'm going to learn a whole lot more by photographing my first article of clothing. That is 100% the way to go about it. And then as I have done that, then I'll refine it. Then I will make it, a whole lot better as time goes by. I'll make it more efficient. But this idea that you have to have everything figured out, that you have to have accountability figured out, that you have to have metrics and systems and all these things figured out before you can get going, absolutely not. 100% no. Disagree. That is not going to be a thing that it needs to be. All right. So, unless the super chat comes in here in the next 30 seconds or so, we are going to call it for tonight. But hopefully, if you're watching this live or on replay, you guys like this, you appreciated this. Maybe it's something we can do. We can do some other hot takes down the road on some other areas and different things like that. But I do hope that this was beneficial to you. So, with that being said, I am going to head out for the night and have a